A new piece of footage has emerged, and it's already making waves. Diddy and Whoopi Goldberg, two iconic figures from completely different worlds, were captured in an unexpected moment that no one saw coming. At first glance, it might seem like just another party clip, but there's something about the energy, their interactions, and the rawness of it all that suggests there's more beneath the surface. What looks like a simple night out is quickly turning heads and sparking curiosity. The chemistry between them is undeniably intriguing, filled with surprises and subtle clues pointing to something beyond a casual hangout. In a world where we think we know everything about these public figures, this footage flips the narrative entirely. Could this be a glimpse into a side of them we weren't supposed to see, or one we didn't even know we needed? The buzz is growing, and it's clear that this new footage might just change everything we thought we knew about Diddy Whoopi and the reality behind their public personas. Monique was also there, took a turn. Instead of the industry rallying behind her or acknowledging the deeper issues at play, Monique found herself further isolated. She continued to speak out, calling attention to the toxic dynamics of Hollywood, particularly for black women who dared to challenge the status quo. But the more she exposed, the more the industry seemed to close ranks against her. Her accusations didn't just focus on the power struggle with Oprah, Tyler Perry, and Lee Daniels. They tapped into a broader conversation about exploitation, pay disparities, and the ways black women are often treated as disposable once they no longer fit the mold Hollywood has crafted for them. In the end, Monique's refusal to back down became both her strength and her downfall. While the industry tried to bury her, her resilience sparked a much-needed conversation about fairness, equity, and respect in Hollywood. A conversation that, even now, continues to resonate. Get ready for some real mess, because things took a major turn in Monique's fight for fairness. She claims Oprah crossed a major line when she allegedly involved Monique's family in a way that felt like a deep betrayal. And as if that wasn't enough, Monique didn't stop there. Years later, when Netflix offered her a comedy special at a fraction of what they paid other big-name comedians, she took them to court, alleging racial and gender discrimination. But this is where things get even messier. Enter Whoopi Goldberg. As another black woman in Hollywood, you'd think Whoopi would have Monique's back, right? Wrong. When Monique appeared on The View to discuss her lawsuit against Netflix, the conversation took a surprising turn. Instead of offering support, Whoopi gave advice, and it left audiences completely stunned. She told Monique, "You have to play the game." But here's the real question. Was Whoopi's game even fair? Monique stood her ground, explaining that she wasn't just fighting for herself. She was fighting for every black female comedian who deserved equal pay and respect. But Whoopi wasn't having it. She told Monique to focus on herself, forget about changing the system, and here's the kicker, drop her husband as her manager. Now, why would Whoopi say that? Monique and her husband, Sidney Hicks, have always been a team, fighting together in this battle. But isn't it a bit ironic that when male actors have their wives as managers, no one questions it? Yet Monique, a black woman, is being told she needs to make a change. The double standards here are glaring, and Monique's response to Whoopi, well, that's the part where it gets even more complicated. Monique, the tension in that moment was palpable. The calm yet firm tone hit hard as she reminded Whoopi that, despite being the highest paid woman in Hollywood, Whoopi still wasn't willing to help fight for fairness. The room went silent, and the tension could be felt through the screen. But this wasn't just a disagreement. It was a clear divide between two black women in Hollywood, each standing on opposite sides of the battle for fairness. One was playing by the rules, the other was trying to rewrite them. And that raises an even bigger question. Why was Whoopi so quick to dismiss Monique's fight? This wasn't the first time Whoopi had brushed off conversations about injustice. Many have pointed out her tendency to dismiss issues that challenge Hollywood's established power structure. Some call it wisdom, others call it fear. Let's not forget, Whoopi has been in the industry for decades, and she's seen firsthand what happens when you push back too hard. Maybe she thought she was offering Monique advice to help her keep working. But the real question is, was it advice, or was it a warning? Whoopi isn't a stranger to controversy. From defending Bill Cosby to her questionable Holocaust remarks, she's often found herself in the center of heated debates. So when Monique called her out for not standing with her, it wasn't just about the Netflix lawsuit. It was about a larger pattern of Whoopi choosing to toe the line rather than confront the hard truths of the industry. And that's where the real divide lies. Monique wasn't just fighting for herself. She was pushing for a change that challenged the status quo, and Whoopi, for whatever reason, didn't seem ready to join that fight. Her people started wondering, is Whoopi more concerned with keeping her own seat at the table than pulling up a chair for others? When you hear the name Whoopi Goldberg, you probably think of an award-winning actress, a sharp-witted host on The View, and an outspoken voice in Hollywood. But beneath the laughter, accolades, and iconic movie roles is a history laced with eyebrow-raising comments, heated feuds, and jaw-dropping defenses. So how did America's beloved Whoopi find herself tangled in controversy after controversy? It all started with a single sentence, one that would ripple through social media, spark outrage, and land Whoopi in hot water during an episode of The View in 2022. The panel was discussing a Tennessee school board's decision to ban Moors, a Pulitzer Prize-winning graphic novel about the Holocaust. The topic was serious, but what Whoopi said next left people speechless. That statement sent shockwaves through viewers, Holocaust survivors, historians, and pretty much everyone who heard it. It was a moment that opened the floodgates for criticism and put Whoopi at the center of a debate about race, history, and responsibility. While Whoopi later apologized for her remarks, explaining that she misspoke, the damage had already been done. What followed wasn't just a public apology. It was a reflection of Whoopi's complicated place in Hollywood and the public eye. She's been a trailblazer, yes, but those moments where she seemed to misunderstand or dismiss serious topics, especially around race and history, have led many to wonder, is Whoopi really as aware and supportive as she seems? Or does she too fall into the trap of protecting her own interests at the expense of deeper, more uncomfortable truths? Whoopi confidently stated, "The Holocaust isn't about race." You could almost hear the collective gasp across living rooms everywhere. The other hosts tried to jump in, gently correcting her, but Whoopi doubled down, insisting that the Holocaust was about man's inhumanity to man, not race. The backlash was immediate. Jewish organizations, historians, and even casual viewers flooded social media, demanding accountability. But the bigger question remained. Was this simply a misunderstanding or something more profound? The reality is, the Holocaust wasn't just about cruelty. It was deeply rooted in the Nazi regime's belief in racial superiority. The Nazis didn't just target Jews as victims of violence. They viewed them as an inferior race, and this warped ideology fueled the genocide they perpetrated. For Whoopi to dismiss this central aspect of the Holocaust was not only historically inaccurate, it was hurtful to many who understand the racial and ethnic dimensions of this atrocity. Once she realized the gravity of her words, Whoopi issued an apology, not once, but twice. She even invited Jewish leaders on The View to help educate herself and the audience about the true nature of the Holocaust. While her intent may have been to clarify, her comments left many questioning if she fully understood the historical and racial implications of what she had said. The incident sparked an ongoing conversation about the power of words, the responsibility of public figures, and the complexity of addressing race and history in a world that's still reckoning with the past. By then, the damage was already done. ABC News suspended Whoopi from The View for 2 weeks, calling her remarks wrong and hurtful. But the real question was this a one-time slip-up or part of a deeper pattern of insensitivity? As it turns out, Whoopi's Holocaust comments weren't her first brush with controversy involving the Jewish Community. Let's rewind to 1993, when Whoopi was dating actor Ted Danson. At a celebrity roast event, Danson showed up in full blackface. Yes, you read that right. But what made this incident even worse was that Whoopi not only attended, but had written some of his jokes. While this caused its own massive uproar, there's another, lesser-known controversy from the same era that really raised eyebrows. Whoopi contributed to a charity cookbook that included a recipe titled Jewish American Princess Fried Chicken. The recipe wasn't just a quirky food choice. It leaned heavily into anti-Semitic stereotypes, poking fun at the idea of wealthy, spoiled Jewish women. Was this just an edgy joke gone wrong, or did it reveal something darker about Whoopi's attitude toward race and identity? Critics slammed the recipe as offensive and unnecessary, and activists pointed out that terms like Jewish American Princess have historically been used as microaggressions to belittle the success of Jewish women. What makes this even more troubling is that Whoopi didn't offer much of an apology at the time. She brushed it off as if it was no big deal. This only added fuel to the fire, causing many to question whether this was just another instance of Whoopi failing to grasp the impact of her words, or if there was something deeper at play, a pattern of overlooking the hurtful implications of her actions. These controversies, spanning from blackface to anti-Semitic jokes, raised serious questions about Whoopi's understanding of race, identity, and the power of her platform. While Whoopi has apologized for some of these incidents, the question remains: are these slip-ups, or do they point to a larger issue of insensitivity and a lack of awareness about the impact of her words on marginalized communities? When you connect the dots from Whoopi's past controversies, like her 1993 anti-Semitic cookbook recipe to her 2022 Holocaust comments, it paints a troubling picture. But it wasn't just public blunders. Behind the scenes of The View, Whoopi's drama continued. Enter Rosie O'Donnell, who returned to the show after a break, only to find herself in a heated feud with Whoopi. According to Rosie, Whoopi was as mean as anyone has ever been on television, and their clashes over sensitive political topics escalated. Their behind-the-scenes tension eventually led to Rosie leaving the show. Was it just a clash of personalities, or was there more beneath the surface? Either way, it became one of The View's most dramatic and lasting feuds. Rosie O'Donnell and Whoopi Goldberg's feud on The View intensified when Rosie wanted to tackle tough, controversial topics, but Whoopi reportedly shut them down, steering the show away from anything too divisive. In her tell-all book Ladies Who Punch, Rosie didn't hold back, describing Whoopi as cold, dismissive, and even bullying behind the scenes. Was Whoopi protecting the show's image or avoiding uncomfortable truths? But the drama didn't end there. Whoopi's defense of Bill Cosby amid his sexual assault allegations shocked many. While Hollywood distanced themselves from Cosby, Whoopi stuck by him, arguing he was innocent until proven guilty on The View. She even questioned the motives of his accusers and suggested his payouts were about protecting his family's reputation. This stance sparked outrage, especially among her co-hosts, and tension was high whenever Cosby was mentioned. Eventually, as evidence mounted and Cosby was convicted, Whoopi admitted she had been wrong to defend him so publicly. So why was she so quick to back Cosby? Was it loyalty, denial, or something deeper? Either way, Whoopi's name has recently been caught up in controversy once again. Tied to the whispers surrounding Diddy's controversial gatherings, people are raising eyebrows about how Whoopi Goldberg got pulled into this mess. While she's not known for wild Hollywood parties, rumors have surfaced suggesting she's been seen at exclusive events linked to Diddy's notorious gatherings. Events that are rumored to be more than just champagne toasts and red carpets. These aren't your typical industry mixers. They're secretive parties with no phone policies, elite guest lists, and a mysterious undercurrent. With industry peers, sure, but the whispers suggest there might be more beneath the surface. Some speculate there's something darker at play, alliances forged behind closed doors, and a side of Hollywood most prefer not to think about. With Diddy scandals rippling through the industry, if Whoopi's name is surfacing, who else is involved? What does that say about Hollywood's hidden dynamics? Meanwhile, Monique stands front and center in her battle with Hollywood, a force demanding attention. Her lawsuit against Netflix for racial and gender discrimination wasn't just about a low offer. It was a bold declaration of war against systemic bias. Netflix offered her just $500,000 for a comedy special, while paying white male comedians millions. Monique isn't just fighting for money. It's about respect, recognition, and refusing to be silenced. Her fight exposes Hollywood's cracks, and the backlash against her has been intense. Labels like difficult and bitter have been thrown her way. But it's convenient how quickly a black woman gets branded difficult when she demands what she deserves. Social media platforms are buzzing with theories, hot takes, and speculation. A new piece of footage has emerged, and it's already making waves. Diddy and Whoopi Goldberg, two iconic figures from completely different worlds, were captured in an unexpected moment